a sponsor.
The Bullish Coffee Company. What's that? Nice bit of kit.
The coffee's good as well.
It kind of looks like it should be made of pewter. Do you know what I mean?
A tankard.
A tankard.
A tankard for your morning coffee.
I do like. Well, no, but I don't have that in the house. But it kind of feels like you're kind of in the army, and you burn that coffee. Do you know, weird kind of Presbyterian way? Maybe not. Maybe it's just me. What is it?
It's just water, I think.
Oh, good Ayrshire water. Love it.
Yep.
The best kind. Oh yeah.
Use code PORTRAIT20 for 20% off all Bullish Coffee products at bullishcoffeecompany.co.uk. MPB is the largest global platform to buy, sell and trade used photography and videography kit. They are the simple, safe and circular way to trade, upgrade and get paid for kit. MPB is not a marketplace. They buy kit directly from visual storytellers and their product specialists evaluate all items before reselling them. Every item is MPB approved, so you never question the quality of products.
With one guest, we were asking questions and chatting, but also just drawing each other as a nice little relaxation. So it's up to you. If you want, there are Sharpies here.
Okay.
You were boasting about your drawings. So.
Oh, and there's...
I didn't boast. I said it was a Sam fucking Allardyce of drawing. How's that a boast?
That's a Premier League manager.
You've gone
only just.
There's a hell of a lot of colours there. Like, I'm not sure the green's going to translate to anything.
He could draw you as a...
It's interpretive.
Gremlin.
It's interpretive. It's exactly. So it's what's that condition where you can smell colours? I've got that.
I've never heard of that.
You can smell colours. I can smell colours.
What colours? What does it?
Is it cinnamon?
Green smells of cinnamon. Blue smells kind of more. It's more tart, more like kind of like a lemon drizzle cake. Black's just licorice.
Right.
This is all bollocks, by the way. But there is an expression. there is a condition called synesthesia.
Yeah, where you see colours.
Well, we all see colours.
No, like...
Oh, do you mean like auras? Do you mean like... I've got that condition where you can see colours.
Me too.
Once again, doesn't get your parking space after. But no, I don't. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if you relax me enough, get me into that space, that safe space.
We've got about 48 minutes to get you in a state where
you'd have to get there pretty fucking sharpish.
There's a guy.
Would it help if we replace the water with vodka?
Probably peyote or, do you know what I mean, some kind of hallucinogenic. Which I've never had before.
And then you can go for the colours then.
And then I don't need that. Then I will see the colours.
You can, yeah.
There's a guy at my old work who had synesthesia, and he would go to see bands. So like my friend Liam was drumming, and he said it was a light blue hexagon that would come out and stuff like that. And I think a band, like a student band, got him to do the artwork depending on how they sounded. And just like note down colours, and they would make that their album. But it's so cool, man.
That is cool. That is a niche he should inhabit. Oh yeah.
Make the most out of it.
Yeah.
We are rolling, right?
Yeah, we've been live for, well, not live, but rolling for a minute or two.
Have I been broadcasting to all of Ayrshire? Sweary nonsense, made up pish.
White supremacy.
Oh, yeah. Like I say, Ayrshire, 4 windows is the giveaway.
So before we get into a formal intro, I've got a confession. I've never seen Still Game.
Okay, so my job is to convince you.
Not really at this point, because I've been listening to a few podcasts over the last couple of days, and I'm glad that life's panned out this way, and I get to, having met you and spoken with you, now get to go and watch it.
Well, it's to your advantage because you don't quite realise how big a deal I am. You should officially be losing your shit, but you're keeping a very even keel. And when you're later on, you lose your shit. You probably actually
look back,
defecate a kidney kind of retrospectively, wishing that you'd made a bigger deal of me.
You have no idea how close you are to truth
tap water.
These two people. I went and picked them up last night because I couldn't be with you to do the portrait side of it, and they were both in their third pint, and like just the jitteriness had just calmed down. I think when I got to Brewdog.
It's funny though because obviously we live in these bubbles and we do it much more than we ever have before. We kind of live in our old shard of existence. So I was at the BAFTAs or something. And I phoned my daughter Belle. I said, do you know who so-and-so is from Love Island? And she lost her shizzle. And I said, I have no idea who this 21-year-old is.
Yeah.
And Belle said, you absolutely have to get a photo with her. I said, why? I don't know who she is. Yeah, but I know who she is.
Yeah, it's important to her.
Yeah, yeah.
Who would you lose your shit over?
I was saying to these guys earlier on, like I've been racking my brains for the last day or so trying to figure out who that person would be for me, and I've still not got there.
You still not got
Not
there?
got there.
Really? No one in music, or no one in comedy, or no one in drama, or no one in football, or no one in ice hockey? Nothing? What's your favourite thing to do?
At the moment, run.
Run? Okay. Well, would you not lose your shit if you met Mo Farah?
Maybe a killing journey.
Okay.
But to redeem my family name such as I'm going to play you a quick voice note from my little sister who, when she learned that you were going to be on this yesterday, understood. She had a bit more.
That's so cool. How have you managed to score him?
Ooh.
That's like especially for Scotland. That's a really.
I like this. You talk about me like I'm like class 1 drug. I'll take that.
Comedy legend.
Legend. Now, legend's a word that's lost its currency, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
If you make a decent, like, full English breakfast, you get called a legend. In my day, a legend, you could breathe fire and melt knights.
Yeah, it's something that belongs in fairy tales, or in that.
Not
kinda,
so much now.
No,
No.
but take the
Oh,
compliment.
no, I'll take it. I'll take it. But then, I'm Scottish, so it's hard to take a compliment.
That's true as well.
Really,
yeah.
we're not genetically wired or
We're not
culturally
American.
wired to take. I've said this before, that if you want to know where, how much and where a Scottish woman got her outfit, tell her she looks nice. So say, you look nice. Pre-mark 15 quid. I'm not a store detective. I was just trying to
Give you a
compliment you.
compliment. Yeah.
It's a true story.
See, when you mentioned the BAFTAs earlier, I went to a still game, like BAFTA, I think it was a masterclass, like
Oh,
6-7 years ago, I think.
who was there?
I think it was, Ford and Greg were there. I think it was Paul and Jane.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you were
I
there.
must have been busy.
But I think you were busy because they told one of the inspirations for Naveed. I was just wondering if you could. There's obviously more to it,
Uh-huh.
but it was to do with the size of a shelf.
Oh yes. Do you want me to tell the story? 'Cause
If you
it's
could, yeah.
because it is one of my favourite stories that Mark Cox tells.
Yeah. Okay, Mark.
And it's not actually the inspiration for Naveed, but could have been.
Uh-huh.
So Mark doesn't drink anymore, but when his drinking days, you should really get Mark to tell you the story. But I'll tell you anyway. He'll tell it better because Mark is a brilliant raconteur. He's just a funny man, funny bones. So he was hungover, and the only thing that would do it was a can of iron brew and a curly whirly. Right, it's the only thing. It's the only combo that would work. Right, so he goes into the shop. It's an Asian family that run it, and the most miserable man in the world who never ever used to look up from his paper. Right. So Mark goes to the chiller cabinet, gets the iron brew, and puts the can on his head, like that. And then he goes over to the chocolate stanchion, as I call it. He's scanning it, and they're all there: Yorkie, Ritter Sport, Mars. There's no curly whirly. He scanned it like 4 times, left to right, back to front. There's no curly whirly, right? So he goes up to the guy, this miserable guy, says, "Mate, have you not got any curly whirlies?" And the guy didn't even look up for his paper. He says, "Don't stock curly whirly, too long for shelf." Now, I would make space for curly whirly personally,
Absolutely, yeah.
but clearly he'd done some kind of time motion study and was told that curly whirlies were not efficient. And they aren't. I mean, they're mostly air. You know, it's a lattice structure, isn't it?
Right.
If you took the chocolate content of a
I
curly
thought you meant
whirly,
air as in like AYR.
No. Well, no, I mean, no. It's I think the air within the curly whirly is from all over the world. It's not just air.
Just
There's
whatever is packaged.
yeah. Imagine it was just Prestwick air inside a curly whirly, and that was the marketing strategy. Wouldn't sell many curly whirlies, would it? Maybe in the Prestwick area. Although no, you wouldn't. Why would you buy Prestwick ware if you lived in Prestwick?
No, you've got
You
it
wouldn't, would you?
anyway. Yeah.
You'd want air from at least Troon.
I went
It's a wee
further
bit
afield.
upmarket.
I'm thinking Barbados or something.
Barbados. Well, okay. And by the way, is it true? Have they discontinued Lilt? Or can you still buy Lilt? Someone told me that Lilt has been superseded by tropical Fanta. This might be a podcast for another day. I'm just throwing it out there.
That could be
I'm
a
just
whole
throwing it out
thing.
there. But no, if you were to collapse the curly whirly into its actual chocolate constituent, you'd probably come away with a Freddo,
Same
wouldn't
with
you?
like a whisper or something.
Not even a whisper. It'd be less than a whisper. It'd be like a
Right.
mouse's whisper.
You reckon? A whisper's just like a moose that got cold.
A moose that with ideas above its station. I think you'll find. And they did discontinue the whisper and bring it back.
Right. Okay.
They did. I did a really awful joke on Twitter, as I'm prone to do, as you know,
Oh yeah.
because you follow me, you idiot. Why would you? Why would
did.
you do that? Have you not got enough suffering in your life already? But what was it? I need to phrase this correctly. I asked. Oh God, I'm going to get this wrong, aren't I? Yeah. I asked a Lithuanian for Twix, and he asked his Lithuanian mate, end up with a Chinese whisper. I definitely structured it better when I wrote it down. So what I've done there is I've panicked and forgotten my own material. I'm sure it happens to the best of us. But you can reverse engineer what I meant to say there, and then re-record
we'll
it
maybe find
and
the
drop it into the podcast. That'd be smashing.
Send a
Thanks
voice
very
note.
much.
Send a voice note.
I'll send a voice note later. Yeah.
So yeah, when I was writing for Breaking the News, doing some jokes, you were one of my main inspirations. It's just joke after joke, day after day. At Govan Dajegi, right?
Govan Dajegi, yeah, who was named after. So I used to write and perform a sketch show. Well, it was actually a listening show. It's called Shredded Week.
Okay.
And the idea was, oh, by the way, can I just say, Shredded Week? I've got Invisaligns in. I've got like what they call, they are Invisaligns, and I've just put my new set in today because I'm trying to break America. Right? My smile is a bit too wonky, and I'm trying to break America. That's why I sound like that. So yeah, Govinda Jaggi, Shredded Week. It was a listing show. Radio Scotland ended up going on to a digital channel, BBC's Choice, as it was called then, I think. Point was, it was a listing show, but it was actually a sketch show in disguise. So me and Donnie McCleary, who is the funniest man in the world and happens to be my writing partner, and we write Fags, Mags and Bags together. That was our kind of our sort of first outings in an official show. And so what we would do is we would review a book, we'd review the soaps, we'd review music, but we'd do it all in character.
Okay.
So we would do an arts roundup as two Neds. And the thing was that Neds hadn't really been done on telly at that point. This was like 1998. They hadn't really been tackled. So it was, all right, ladies, my name's Alan Jeggy. This is my blogger banda. Way! And I was giving the Jeggy.
Right.
And we would just end up reviewing the toilets. I play with shite, but the urinal was beautiful, and the urinal cakes were like pineapple chunks. Beautiful, man. And so that's why I've got that Twitter handle.
Always wondering.
Yeah. And I don't know why I am into wordplay, because I had a discussion on another podcast about this. I was saying to the guys, and it was two guys, Jason Hazlett and Joel Morris, incredibly funny guys. They've written for Charlie Brooker. They wrote those Ladybird books, The Hangover and all those ones.
Yeah.
And really, really funny, really, really erudite, clever guys. And I was saying, what is it about wordplay? Because, you can theorize as to why people laugh. So, for example, if someone falls on the bus, you laugh because it wasn't you. It's a laughter of relief. Sometimes you laugh. It's usually relief, or it's like puncturing the pomposity, laughing at a funeral. I mean, it's kind of like
breaking a silence.
Yeah. But there's a sort of a reason for you can see it. But what is the advantage? What to a species of wordplay? Where does it get you, and why do you get that wee endorphin? Right? Why do I get it? And Joel had said that he'd heard that it was about spotting patterns. So if a tribe can spot a pattern, then it was advantageous to the tribe. And wordplay is about spotting patterns or bucking patterns. But I was he then, because I told him the story about, like, obviously we've just had Halloween. I don't know when the podcast is going out, but as I'm sitting here now, it's a day after Halloween. Yep. I would say Happy All Saints Day, but never have I felt so low. I did that tweet earlier today, in case you're wondering. He's laughing. I was reminiscing about how back in the day, and I'm sure it's an inertia thing, guising and telling, you got to tell a joke when you go out, right?
Yeah.
You can't just go in nothing.
No, you don't just get a door knock and that's it. You got to
no.
work
I
for
mean,
it.
in our day, you had to earn it. I mean, I'm a bit older than you, but I mean, this generation, I think they expect to get an iPad for doing nothing, right? Saying, no. If you want Haribo Tan Fastics, you've got to do a turn, and a joke is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
So I said to my son, Vinny, who must have been about 7, and I think it was the first time he was going out, with pals, guys, and I said, what's your joke? And he said, why did the chicken cross the road? Because he was Mr. Poohhead.
Yeah, classic.
And I said, okay, I know why you think that's a joke, but it's not a joke. And he said, why is it not a joke? Because I couldn't let him away with this, right?
No, he's representing comedy.
What do you know what I mean? He's second generation, do you know what I mean?
Big bits to fill.
I said, I know why you think that's a joke. Why is it not a joke, Dad? I'm thinking, well, why isn't it a joke? Okay, well, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll tell you a joke, and then I'll deconstruct that for you, and then, we'll work it out together as dad and son. So I said to him, and I'm thinking, right, a joke for a 6-year-old, okay. Why did the skeleton not go to the party? Because he had nobody to go with. And Vinny said, why is that a joke? And I said, well, because nobody means two things. There's a double meaning. No body, no physical body, nobody, no one, nobody to go with. And then he said, but why is that funny?
It's funny because if you get it, because it's all of a sudden you're part of an crowd. and you
Possibly.
feel connected to a group of people that understand the same thing.
An equivalence group, to use a mathematical term, of people that will get that joke. Why did you side eye there? Because
Because I've got a few questions
about maths.
about your foray in maths and
Okay.
then to medicine.
Oh, it was more than the 40. It was a proper.
Okay, well, there we
I'm
go.
joking, I'm joking. Yeah, but then I just said to Vinny, just do the poo head joke because you've actually broken the logic for me. But then Joel explained to me why. So you know the joke, why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? Okay, it's a joke we sort of all grew up with. But do you get it?
No.
Do you actually get it? So a whole generation of people were parroting this joke and didn't know why, and I was one of them. And apparently it's a double meaning because in Victorian times, when people were mere with God, to get to the other side meant to get to heaven. So the chicken crossed the road to be killed.
Yeah, to make it to heaven.
I don't know I was a chicken,
No.
but chicken features in my current favourite joke, which is why is the chicken the funniest animal on the farm?
That works if you can do a cluck as good as that.
Yeah. Also, there's a facial thing going on, which usually it works on
Helps
two
sell it.
levels. I look like a kind of child killer when I cluck up. It's not deliberate.
So what techniques do you? Because you were talking about keeping like match fit, and that's why you write jokes on Twitter for it to feed into your writing and stuff. So what like techniques do you use? So you've got your kind of wordplay and puns that I've seen. You've got ones that are like dictionary definitions, right?
Yeah, I sort of do some of them. Like I'm trying to think of bunting, Jamaican pastry. You know is that what you mean? Like the mock definitions. Yeah.
I'd read books on like different techniques like the subverting expectations, you build tension, and then there's the rule of three, and the third one's it gets like more ridiculous each time and stuff like that. But just to do it on such a consistent level is
Well, see, I don't know. I just think I don't know why. I'm really good at crosswords, and I love words, and I love the way they're put together, and I don't know where that comes from. What I will say is, and I only worked this out recently. When I was talking before about why wordplay was funny, because obviously humor is important. It was Sanjeev Bhaskar that said it. So Sanjeev Bhaskar was in Goodness Gracious Me,
okay.
which I used to write for back in the day.
Okay.
So I know Sanjeev. Also, he's one of two Sanjeevs in the world that I know. So I've made it my business to know him. But he's a very funny, clever guy. And I was listening to him on a podcast, and he said one of the points of humor is to frame something. So when something horrific is happening, in order for you to process it and deal with it, you need to put a bit of distance between you and the thing. And the way of doing that is humor, to frame it differently.
Yeah.
Do you remember when there'd be a disaster and there was always some smart ass in the playground making a joke about it?
Yeah.
And someone would say too soon. And maybe it was too soon, but the point was it was necessary. It was like a pressure release valve thing, yeah? And I'm thinking, I've just remembered now, or not possibly remembered why I find wordplay so compelling. And this goes back to growing up as a wee Asian guy in Glasgow. So I grew up in Bishopbriggs, in the north of Glasgow. And can I point out, I know this is a bit Glasgow-centric, but any Ouija's listening will know this. Glasgow has a south side, an east end, a west end, and a north. Nothing. There's no noun. It's like the north of Glasgow isn't considered important enough to garner a noun. It's just like the north, like Game of Thrones. Like there's White Walkers stomping through London. So I grew up in the north of Glasgow in Bishopbriggs, and pretty vanilla kind of neighbourhood. And I got sent to a fee-paying Catholic school, which, as you can imagine, didn't have many Asians at it either in the 70s and 80s. And we were in town. So my mum, my dad, and me and my two big brothers were in town in Glasgow on a Saturday night about 6 o'clock. It was kind of this kind of time of year, autumnal, getting dark. I'm quite scared because my dad is a turban Sikh. I come from a Sikh family. My mum's wearing a sari. I think we must have come from some kind of formal do, be it a variety show or a wedding or something, right? But we very unusually are in our finery in Glasgow at 6 o'clock on a Saturday night when the scaries are coming out, when the football guys are coming back, and people coming out of betting shops, and people. It didn't feel. I didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
I wanted to get to our Volvo so I could get back to Bishopbriggs and watch the game for a laugh. And you're too young to remember that, to know that reference. So as we're walking along, dad with his turban, mum with a sari, me and my two brothers in quite formal gear. These Hells Angels come round the corner, really scary looking guys. And it was in a bit of Glasgow where the Royal Concert Hall is now. Now it's lovely, but back then it was like a tramp's mattress. It was horrific. And so I'm thinking, they're going to say something. They are absolutely going to say something.
Yeah.
They're going to knock my dad's turban off. They're going to take my mum's sari off. They're going to spit on me and hang me on a flagpole. I don't know why a flagpole. That's quite imaginative. But when you're 9 years old in Glasgow and you're brown, you do kind of preempt these things. And it was just my reality. I'm not moaning about it. I mean, it turned out okay, but you did think someone would say something, especially if there's five of us together. And my dad's got a turban, my mum's doing sorry. So Hell's Angels, they're going to say something. What's that? They're going to do something. Something's going to happen here. And every single angle of the protractor of her horror, I'm playing out in my head as they're walking towards us. And they eventually got level with us, and the head, Hell's Angel, who looked like Lemmy from Motorhead, he was like a scary looking proposition. He just lowered his shades and he eyeballed my dad and he said, "Friend, I hope you seek what you're looking for." He done a pun.
Yeah.
I can't help thinking that a switch off in my head that puns can
Like bring people together in a sense.
bring people together, puncture,
And
awkwardness.
If you're talking about attention relief, that was the ultimate one for you.
I think so. Well, yeah, because I mean, they still kicked fuck out of us, but they didn't really. No. And I think maybe something went off in my head at that point. I was 8, 9 years old, so I wonder whether that was the start point.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But I certainly watched a lot of comedy. Me and my brothers used to tape all the comedy. So I'm of a generation where we only had 3 channels, and then there was 4 in 1982 when Channel 4 kicked off. So any comedy in the world could, it was almost like it had to be really good to reach us.
Yeah.
And we would record and watch things like Morecambe and Wise, the Two Ronnies, the Kenny Everett television show, the rubbish stuff as well, the quite racist stuff, but we would just watch it because we like to laugh. Punjabi culture is a bit like that. Punjabis are known as the kind of, it's almost like the Glaswegians of India because we're quite loud and can be a bit gauche and a bit, but we like a laugh. There was always laughter in our house. And my dad liked telling jokes. My eldest brother, who's like just retired as a policeman, does a brilliant best man speech. So we obviously have something. So in answer to your question, I didn't learn formally how to do jokes. I just learned from watching comedy. I mean, that's how, when I started writing sketches, I mean, I had no baldy clue how to do it, but I'd watched 50 million sketches. So I learned, I worked out, like, I remember the first time I tried to write a sketch, I knew it was too long. I thought, this should be 2 minutes long because Fry and Laurie would make it 2 minutes. Oh, and by the way, what exactly is the comedic observation in this joke? That should be the end. That's why it's called the punchline. And try and minimize the amount of exposition you need because you want to get there quickly. Which is why I think sketch writing is a bit of a lost art. I mean, sketch shows were kind of 10 a penny in the noughties. Those 50 million sketch shows, and that's where I cut my teeth on sketch shows. And now it's difficult because would the sketch show get commissioned? I don't know because of the way people consume. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what I think might happen is you would do a sketch show and you would make sure that each sketch was self-contained and you could peel them off and stick them on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, a Lemmy sketch will pop up on my Facebook feed and the youngsters will like it. I think, oh, thank Christ, people are still getting sketches.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't get Lemmy, then frankly, I don't understand what's going on in your head. So it is. I would love. I mean, I've got like a notes folder on my iPhone which is full of sketch ideas.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would love one day to deploy the sketch show. I'd love to do it.
It's something I was going to ask you. So last night when we were chatting about like people you like in comedy, and I know you mentioned Morecambe and Wise, Reeves and Mortimer, people like that, and then you were hitting into like voices and stuff, and we were all doing like stupid voices and impressions of people. You've had roles where, say, like you're acting as a specific character, but you've written for Chewing the Fat, you've written like sketches and stuff. Like, what would be your dream role? Is it like a sketch show where you've just got total freedom?
Oh, that's a good question. I've been blessed in that I sort of had my dream role already. So are you aware of a show called Look Around You?
I don't think so.
You need to get on that. It's a spoof of Tomorrow's World. So Tomorrow's World was a show in the 70s and 80s, it was on a Thursday night after Top of the Pops. Again, I'm not talking, this is your parents I'm talking to now. But it was a real fixture in the week, and it was half an hour, and it was looking to the future. So now, what if I told you that you could watch in 3 dimensions? And then there was, they were actually saying they're making 3D television now. Just general, like advances in medicine and all that stuff. So what Look Around You was an absolutely note-perfect parody of that show, which was made in 2005. And it was Peter Serafinowicz and Robert Popper now. Peter Serafinowicz, if you're not aware of him, is, my God, he's an absolute genius. He's a planet of a. He's so clever, so clever. You'll know him. He now does wee cameos in American films.
Okay.
Have you seen Spy?
Spy, is that with Melissa McCarthy?
Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
So he's the Italian guy
Okay.
who goes English at the end, but then goes Italian.
Okay.
So him, right? He's incredibly clever, and Robert Popper is incredibly clever, and the two of them. So Robert Popper devised Friday Night Dinner and wrote all of them.
Okay.
And was also commissioning editor at Channel 4. Really lovely guy as well, brilliantly clever. He wrote those books. What's it called? The Time Waster Letters, Robin Cooper.
Right.
Anyway, so the two of them wrote this thing, Look Around You, and they cast me as this character called Synthesizer Patel. So a man who likes synthesizers so much, he changed his name to Synthesizer Patel. And the people that were in the show, I mean, in that green room, there was Kevin Eldon, there was Mark Heap, there was Matt Lucas,
Right,
Peter and Robert themselves. I mean, it was people that, like, I thought one day I would work with one of them, and then 5 of them were in the room. It was like comedy. Harry Enfield
Oh wow.
played
Yeah.
the ghost of Tchaikovsky. I mean, it was off its head
Yeah.
in a really good way. So I've been kind of a wee bit spoiled. I mean, there's still people I'd love to work with.
Yeah.
Like we were talking the other night, I would love to work with Matt Berry or Matt Holness. I was in the very last IT crowd.
Uh-huh.
So I was at a table read with Matt Berry.
Mm.
And I remember like trying to hold my shizzle together. And as I walked out, Matt Berry was on the phone to someone and has it arrived yet? Has it? They gave me a definite window. No, it should arrive. Shit. And I think I'm just getting Matt Berry, actual Matt Berry here. Matt Holness, I've actually been listening to. I've just got on board something I meant to do for ages. And I don't know if we mentioned this the other night, but I think we did. It was the Off Menu podcast with Ed Gamble and brilliant James Acaster.
Yeah, he's
And
fantastic.
the guest they've got this week, it's actually Garth Marenghi.
I was going to send you that. What are the
I was
chances?
listening to it today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're not a writer, are you? Yeah. He's just, I'm a shaman. I'm a dream weaver. And he's, again, I have been in the same production as him. I was in a film called Festival
Okay.
that Annie Griffin wrote and directed that must have been around about 2004. And it was a spoof, not spoof, it was inspired by the Edinburgh Festival, the comedy judging panel. That's what it was. And Stephen Mangan, Richard Iowade, Chris O'Dowd, Daniela Nardini, all these people were in the film. So I was actually on a comedy judging panel in the film with like Richard Iowade and Stephen Mangan and Matt Holness was at the viewing. And so these are people like, I'm trying not to fangirl, but my God, I'm working with these people. And also Chris Morris I auditioned for 4 Lions.
All right. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Oh yeah. Chris Morris is my living hero. I just think that him and Armando Iannucci are just out there. I mean, just I wish I could speak as quickly as they think. I mean, honestly, they're just Chris Morris for me is the kind of the epitome. And he auditioned me for 4 Lions, and I was never going to get it, but I was in a room with him for 45 minutes, me and him, and I was trying not to be, you wear trousers, I wear trousers. Oh. I was genuinely trying not to do that because the casting director had said to me, look, don't fangirl, he gets a lot of that. And so, I'll try. And I was a grown-ass man, by the way. I was like 39 at the time. And so we did the audition, and when because I was kind of suppressing a lot of feelings, it feels a bit like a fever dream that it ever happened. So I can't remember details. I just remember what he was wearing and that he was incredibly nice.
Okay.
A lovely, lovely man and very encouraging. Because I was saying to him, look, do you want me to attempt a Yorkshire accent or should I just do this middle-class Glasgow accent I've got? And he gave me options. And then I watched it back and I was never... I think I was probably reading for the lead, Riz Ahmed right now. No one was ever going to do that as well as him. Or anyone. I mean, Kayvan Novak, fuck mini baby bells, rubber dinghy it up in the bro. I was never going to...
Happens is a good one, yeah.
The other guy as well, the guy that explodes.
Yeah.
So he's Shazad. No, not Shazad. His name is I can't remember, but he always gets the jobs that I want. He's kind of my natural enemy in the wild, and annoyingly, he's brilliant. He's like a BAFTA winner. He's always really good, so it can't even be like, oh, why did you get that? Well, he got it because he was good.
He deserves it.
But but like I say, Chris Morris gave me 45 minutes of his time. And at the end of the audition, it was in London, in Soho. At the end of the audition, he said, "Oh, where have you come from? Have you got far to go home?" He said, "Well, I live in Glasgow." He said, "Oh, you came from Glasgow for this?" I said, "Well, I didn't want to miss the chance to audition for this." And he said, and this was about maybe 8 months after Smito, after the bombing, right? And he was all over that because he's like meticulous in his research about obviously Islamism and terrorism on British soil sort of thing for the film. He said, "Oh, right, so have they still got the blockades up at Glasgow Airport?" And I don't know where this came from. I said, "Yeah, they did let through a Febreze lorry to get rid of the smell of burnt hair." And he went, "Boo!" He laughed. So I walked away thinking, if nothing else,
You've made it.
I made my hero laugh.
Yeah.
And I made Bob Mortimer laugh as well in the audition when I was auditioning for a thing called there was a character that he had, Angelos Epithemiou, and it was like an online thing what Angelos did next. And there was a part for a guy called Gupta, who was described as Angelos's business mentor, driving instructor, and squash partner. And I remember just playing it really angry, and Bob making Bob laugh. I remember thinking again, well, if nothing else, I made a comedy hero of mine laugh, and then I got the job. And Bob was directing it.
Oh, amazing.
And at one point, it was very low budget. It was online, right? But I was in Pet Productions, which is their production company. I was there.
Okay.
And at one point, my jacket was hanging on the hat stand, and Bob says, "Whose jacket is that?" I said, "It's mine. Can I borrow it?" I said, "Yes, you can borrow my jacket, Bob Mortimer." So I've been quite lucky in that I've worked with people that I really love and
What was he wanting with your jacket?
He played the director in the thing,
Right.
and it was a bit cold, and he just said,
He just needed something to.
just needed something. So yeah.
Bob's phenomenal. I remember went to see Athletico Mints live.
Oh, did you?
And I'm terrible for like just getting in my head. I think I went to see a musical before and I wasn't really into it, and everyone was like doing that and clapping to Joseph, and I was like, oh my god,
Forced fun.
yeah, I'm like, get me out here. But then I went to Athletico Mints and they were doing that. I'm like, yeah, crying with laughter.
Aye, when it's good,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he just came out in one
Make
point.
us a 6-boiler. And it better be very fucking runny.
Poachers, you bastard. At one point he came out just with like a car horn, or the hi,
Oh yeah.
and a jacket, and just
Yeah.
walked around in circles and honked it, and everyone was in stitches. Just that.
Well,
It was like only Bob.
the thing is, and that's the thing I don't know if you can teach, because it was part of the Angelos thing, and they wrote an extra one, which was Angelos at Christmas, and it was Angelos cooking dinner for me, my character,
Okay.
the two of us, and Bob directed it, right? And there's this whole sequence where he, one of the cooking tips was, and to make the turkey really moist, you should put in a sausage balloon. And that was Frank Spencer. Bob was showing him how to put a long sausage balloon into a turkey's arse.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like a comedy masterclass.
Uh-huh.
And at one point, he was saying to me, he says, Jim's a big fan of yours. What do you mean, Jim Moore? You mean Vic Reeves? He's very fond of you.
Oh, cool.
But nothing ever happened.
Mm.
Nothing came. I did hear that there was a chance that I might have been when Matt Lucas left Shooting Stars.
Yep.
And then it was Angelos.
Mm-hmm.
And then was it anyone after that? But I heard that that Gupta character might have been the adjudicator
Oh,
on Shooting Stars,
damn.
and that would have been a dream job.
Did they get the big guy who came out in Reeves and Mortimer, the big ginger guy who pretended to be Tom Cruise?
Did
Did he replace him? Yeah.
Vaughn.
Was he in it right at the end? Or no?
Was he?
I can't remember.
I don't think he was. I mean, obviously, I can't remember now.
I don't know. He was funny though.
But
But
Shooting Star. I mean, Vic and Bob. That is a. It's. You watch it and you think, well, why is that so funny? You don't know. Later on, we'll be meeting a lazy priest with an eye for the ladies.
yeah.
Later on, we'll be trying to lower the exchange rate mechanism by chasing a quite nicely coloured hen into an acoustic guitar. Why is that funny? It just is. I love Vic and Bob. There's a clip. There are two clips that I watch if I'm actually feeling quite depressed, and one is when we talked about this when they did A Stars in Their Eyes.
Yeah.
And he did George Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to see that. And there was another one where it was Donald and Davy Stott interviewing Sting.
Right.
Mr. Guest Sting, when you get an itchy bottom at night, do you stick it out the window and let the breeze blow it off? Do you rub it on your wife's chin? Or do you just pick at it with your fingers? And Sting actually laughed so hard he sort of falls on the sofa. And there's nothing nicer than watching someone properly corpse.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lovely thing to watch. So you get the brilliant, and then because Vic and Bob corpse all the time when they're doing the starts.
Yeah.
So and the tashes fall off, and
Yeah.
they just got funny bones. They just do. I just have to look at Vic, and Bob's the same as well. I love them.
Time wise, we need to.
Oh my god!
Already?
Yeah, we need to.
I've answered any of your
No.
questions.
Can I go through while you're getting the laptop ready? We've got viewer questions.
Oh, okay,
So
I'll keep them brief.
my friend P Money, he wanted to be
P-Money.
known as P Money. Who would win in a fight, Isa or Mina?
Mina would win a fight with anyone. She's got a very low sense of gravity. She's basically a human forklift. I've seen her pick up. I've seen her pick up 424 packs of Fanta in one go.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, she got a hernia, but she did it. Mina every time. Mina and anyone.
Okay. One from my mum who said she went to see The People Have to Know and said, yeah, he was the best dressed. He had great socks. So I just wanted to
Great
pass that on.
socks.
Yeah, no. You start with the socks.
Yeah.
The socks are that's not true. But do you know what? Weirdly say to your mum, and that's very kind of you. Thank you. Socks are the last piece of the jigsaw. I always wondered. I always tried to hide the socks. I didn't know what to do with the socks, and I've only recently worked out that you can just match the sock with anything else you're wearing. So I'm glad she noticed. That's
Doesn't have
quite.
to be the
She
centerpiece.
noticed, yeah.
That's quite a late revelation for me.
She likes her fashion. And one last question. I know the photos are there. From Amanda, have you or would you ever try stand up?
I did it once, and I was so bad I got a written heckle.
A written
written
heckle.
heckle.
A
Oh,
written
damn.
heckle. There's a slight story there. I'll quickly tell it. So it was 1997. The crops had failed in Russia. No, at that time I was a radio presenter because that's how I got into the business. I was radio presenting, but not comedy. It was like a magazine show, but I got a reputation as a presenter that could be funny. So I was writing sketches by that point. So I was writing for Goodness Gracious Me and Chewing the Fat, and I was radio presenting. So in my head, I'm thinking, well, the next logical step is stand up. But because I'm what's called a shite bag, I did nothing about it. And then a friend of mine approached me and she said, look, I've organised this ball for young Asian professionals in the Hilton in Glasgow. I think it was just, the idea was for pharmacists to meet other pharmacists and have pharmacist children. It was quite a high end. Have you ever seen a pharmacist child? They're great. They can't actually dispense, but they can advise. They can give you sweets and combs. They still sell combs in pharmacies. Have you noticed this? Combs are still a thing. Anyway, internet safe. So she said, dinner sorted. We've got a DJ. I'm thinking of having a stand up. And she said, you know Sanjeev Bhaskar, I mentioned him before, from Goodness Gracious Me. Do you think he'd do it? I said, well, he's on the telly now. I mean, it might be quite pricey. So she got back a week later because I gave her the details of his agent, and she got back a week later and said, you're right, he's too expensive. Would you do it? And I said, thanks, question mark, sloppy seconds. But I thought, do you know what? I'll say yes, and I have to commit myself because I'm a shite bag, but if I commit myself, I'll have to do it. So I wrote this routine. And the thing was, I was an Asian guy in my late 20s, and the audience was Asian people in their late 20s. This was my people. So I knew exactly what to write, and I did. And I went on stage, and to be fair, I probably was doing okay for 7 or 8 minutes, but I didn't know how long I was meant to be up there. No one told me. And I was expecting the DJ to give me some kind of visual cue as to when to wind up. He was around the back having a fag because he thought I was going to wind myself up and then he was going to run in. So in my head, it was 25 minutes later, I'm still up there. I'm just talking to myself now. I've lost the room. I mean, they are dead to me or I'm dead to them. They're like hermetically sealed from me. They're just chatting to each other. I've lost them, right? Gone, right? So anyway, I'm thinking I've got no exit strategy here. I'm just going to have to keep going. I can't just leave because I didn't have any experience. And a waiter came up and he had like this wee tray with a Bacardi and Coke on it, and he stood it up. And I said, oh, well, finally some support in the room. He said, no, it's the drink's not for you. That's for someone else. But there's a note underneath it for you. So I opened it and it said, you're boring everybody. Please get off.
No.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I thought it was like after, not
No.
during it.
It was during. It was very much
God.
during. And that was the last time I actually did stand-up. I've done sort of comparing and a wee bit, but that's the last time I did stand-up. I mean, Who's to say? Maybe one day. I look at Twitter as my stand-up now.
Yeah.
So those one-liners I do on Twitter, I kind of see that as my stand-up.
No, the Twitter is brilliant. But thank you for that.
No worries.
So photo time.
Yes.
Hang on, one last question.
Oh.
I did say I'd get it in. Do you watch Still Game now?
Yes.
Recreationally?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, because I didn't watch it at the time because when you... Well, I find this anyway. I find it quite hard to watch myself because when you've just done a job and then you watch it maybe, 2 months later, you remember the takes that they didn't use. And you remember that, oh, God, why did they use that take? I did it better. Or whatever, I could have made a different choice there. But like you watch it 15 years later, you can maybe...
You get a bit of separation
It's a
from
bit,
it.
it's a bit like a curry. It tastes better 3 days later. You must have
Absolutely.
noticed this.
Yeah.
But 7 days, you will have explosive diarrhea. Don't leave
I mean,
it too
yeah.
long. But you can take it out of the freezer. That's probably what I've done. I've taken it out of the freezer, haven't I, and watched it and I've enjoyed it. But no, it's easier to be objective when you've got that distance. And look, here's the thing. I'd be a fan of the show if I wasn't in it. So, I'm lucky enough to, I will watch scenes playing out thinking I cannot wait for the world to see that.
That's
And then you have that wait, and then people react the way you hope they react. So, no, I do enjoy it. I mean, I don't, and the other thing is that if I'm known as Naveed from Still Game and nothing else, I'll be happy with that as well. I'm not one of those actors, well, I have range. Well, I don't really have that much range. I generally play Asians who are 6'1". So I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to, I'm always going to be Naveed from Still Game no matter what I do.
Yeah.
Unless I become Doctor Who. But even then.
Still part of your history.
Yeah. But by the way, can I point out Doctor Who is the only doctor on television that isn't Asian? So hashtag just saying. Hashtag I've got a jacket in the wardrobe, which is my Doctor Who jacket, and will be there for several years.
Nice. So, yeah, time absolutely flew there.
I know. I'm
Enjoyed the
sorry, but
comedy
that's my problem. I just like. Bleh.
No, it was great.
I promise you, I haven't consumed any cocaine. This is just me. I just talk too much. I'm
so
sorry.
if you like the photos and want to come back on in a year or something, we'd love to have you back. But thank you so much.
Oh, is that me?
So this is under the beautiful red light.
Have you got a picture with more gorm? I look gormless, and that's not on you. That's on me. I need an injection of gorm, but the lighting's lovely on that.
I'll look and see if there's like an AI Gorm filter.
Is there a gorm filter? That sounds like Game of Thrones. I am gorm filter. That's a nice one.
The lighting was good here. This is one of it's the very first ones with David's spot.
Quite moody, isn't it? Yeah. I look like
there are silly ones.
I'm going to kill or be killed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
had just met two strangers after dark in the museum. So.
And it's surprisingly quiet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought there might be some kind of what do you call it? Halloween shenanigans.
Yeah,
but did you kill all the kids?
Yeah. Is that what you did? Put in a bomb scare.
Yeah. Ooh, that looks like the finger's gone through the toilet paper, doesn't it? Look at the lights, though.
One thing I will say, right? So mpb.com are our new sponsor, and the bokeh is like perfectly suckled, and I've never had that.
That is beautiful.
Any camera,
Do you know what? That is lovely. That is
Thank you.
lovely. That's the thing of beauty. That
Thank you very much.
I kind of feel upstaged by the background, but that's fine. I have no self-esteem.
You're upstaging the background here.
Yeah, I'm trying to upstage the background by pleading for, I don't know what I'm pleading for there. Not sure, just probably a curly whirly.
Less air in the curly whirly.
Yeah, that's it. And more air in the curly whirly.
More air, right? Airshot air.
More airshot air. Yeah.
And this is the kind of wistful close-up.
Yeah.
Testing it.
I mean, I've gone for wistful, but I don't think that's what I've achieved. But I do like what I've achieved. I don't know what I'd call it. Is it studied?
Gormless and wistful.
Studied indifference. I imagine what I'm thinking there is, my God, the kebab game's improved. Because remember when doner kebabs were awful and now they're brilliant? A line was crossed at some point. I think that's what I'm contemplating. At what point did kebabs come great again? I think that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Quite a specific thought.
It's a guy walking in the distance. You've never had a kebab? You've had the strangest
Right.
upbringing
Can
ever.
you watch Still Game watching a kebab, please?
Yeah.
That's my request. Eh?
Eating a kebab or watching a kebab?
You watch the kebab and eat Still Game. Eat a Still Game DVD and watch a kebab.
Can I ask for a really specific favour? If you could look at the camera right. My gran has quite progressed with dementia.
Oh.
And she watches a box set of House, like 7 DVDs, and she's watched it, no joke, like 50
Of
times.
House?
Of House.
Wow.
So I'm going to get her the Still Game box set, and I need someone to tell her, just listen, get rid of House, let's watch Still Game. I'm recommending it.
Okay, so what's your grand's name?
It is Dorothy.
What do you call her?
Nanny.
Nanny.
Yeah.
Nanny Dot? Or just Nanny?
No, she tries to. She calls herself Nana. That's what she wants to be called, but I can't bring myself to say Nana. I'm too.
Yeah. It's like I don't. Nana's a bit informal. In fact, I don't call a banana. I call it a grandmother. So Nana Dorothy Dotty, the Dotster, the Dotster. Listen, you're done with House. It's that you've watched him how many times now? And by the way, I've worked with you, Laurie. I mean, he's all right. But can I suggest that you clear your house and bring in Still Game? I'm in it, but don't let that put you off. I'm the weak link in a very strong chain. It will make you laugh. It will make you cry. It will make you spit out your cornflakes, whether you're eating them or not. So I can thoroughly recommend Still Game, and just ignore my bits.
Cool. Thank you so much. That genuinely means a lot.
That's a nice one.
Cool.
A game with the moody, the lights.
The lighting, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, props to the lenses and the camera. It was very low light.
So who makes those lenses?
So mpb.com.
That's
They loan us.
mpbd.com? mpd.com?
MPB.
mpb.com.
Mike Polo Bravo.
So what you're saying is don't say lenses, say MPB.
MPB
There you go.
provided me. They loaned the lenses to the
You
podcast.
showed me the
to
lenses
use.
and they looked very expensive, and
Yes.
I'm seeing the effect now.
It was terrifying carrying them about. And then we moved on to the red background of
Yeah.
Kelvingrove.
Yeah,
It's lit up.
yeah. Again, I don't know what emotion I was going for, but I look a bit slightly troubled by something. In fact, I know what I was troubled by. I parked on a single yellow line, and that's exactly what that face says.
The traffic warden
Yeah, yeah.
walking down the street
28
towards your
minutes.
car, yeah.
And at that point, I realised it's 6 o'clock and it's absolutely fine. The restrictions are done. I can relax now. I can unclench my buttocks. Life is good. Life is good. Yeah, that was me. I think. Oh, I don't like what my chin does when I put my head at that angle.
Okay.
So yeah, we can. But again, the background is gorgeous.
That's Brewdog Bokeh. with the
Oh, is
sign.
that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh, right. So yeah. It's quite kind of iron brew colours, isn't it? With
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the next couple, I think, if I've got it right, are my favourite. So we got the wide lens out. I'm not used to that at all. First time
Okay,
shooting wide.
fisheye. Oh, that's good. That's quite menacing. Because my
Looking
feet are
cool.
big already, but I'm like Godzilla there. Do you know Godzilla was very coy about what he did for a living, and when his mum asked him, he said he was something big in the city.
Love it. I
It's
love
just
it.
me that like that, right?
Oh God, that's awful.
And my favourite.
Oh, that's a nice one.
My favourite.
That's good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
like
so-
that might be my favourite actually.
I had to narrow it down, but there was ones where you took the glasses off and you were.
Oh yeah,
were
you
giving
got
it
them,
the-
and I did bat ears by mistake, didn't I?
Yeah, I've got. They're not here. I was
Ah.
narrowing it down
Okay.
for a time, but I can't.
oh right,
send them.
okay. Well, I'd like to see them, but
Yeah.
that's a belter.
Cool. So
They're all lovely photos.
awesome. I'm glad you
So
think so.
this is when I show mine, and we should have left
You
yours
oh,
till
because you did
last,
the
yeah.
kind of the behind the scenes.
I did
didn't
some
you?
behind the scenes one, but I got a couple of are mine here as well, or am I gonna have to? Okay, cool. How are we doing for time? So that's
I will need to go very
Yeah,
soon.
yeah.
But,
It's cool.
oh, I think it'll be quicker getting back because it won't obviously
Yeah,
won't hit the.
traffic will be
yeah.
dead now.
But you killed the traffic as well as the kids last night.
It's another bomb spit.
So this is like when you get your DVD extras. Here's an alternate angle of
Nice.
the praying photo.
Yeah. That's a nice photo.
My Canon, unlike the Sony, didn't really like the dark.
Why didn't you use a camera?
Way.
That's pretty basic. But, you know,
yeah. I'll try better next time. This is what you called your daily record.
Yeah.
kind
Oh
of-
no, that's the disgruntled.
Yeah.
Disgruntled
Man
face.
unhappy with situation on street.
Yes, man in Green Brigade disappointed that he's not allowed back in a parkhead. Yeah. Bit topical.
So we got a couple of
very-
zooms of them. There's
Yeah.
the man is happy with
man
situation
man
on
is happy with
street,
situation
yeah.
with yes.
Man is exceedingly happy with and this is you. I think this was when we were talking about Mortimer.
Yeah.
and Reeves,
I do look
possibly,
like
but-
I'm looking into the middle distance trying to locate my Gorm. My Gorm has been stolen and is in
Yeah.
a fast car moving away from me.
This is the pensive kind
Kind
of.
of pensive, kind of yeah. But
And this is you admiring This is another alternate angle, but this is you admiring Kelvingrove.
Yes.
I thought you were
The
pointing at
building.
yourself there. This is you admiring.
Yeah.
And the Kelvingrove is genuinely one of my favourite
Yeah.
buildings in the world. I
So,
love it.
It's a cool spot.
Yeah.
there we go.
Oh, yeah.
Job
Yeah,
done.
well, very pleased with them.
Cool. But
Yeah.
so what we'll do is we'll send you the link to the drive so you can get the full res copies and download them. But, yeah, with the other ones and stuff, I'll add them
Yeah.
when I have time to edit and stuff. But I just want to say like a huge thank you, an absolute
Massive
comedy
thank
hero,
you.
an
Yeah.
absolute
yeah.
No,
legend.
do you know what way where I wish I had more time? Because we've hardly made a dent.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I had.
Do you know what? Just for a laugh, just tell me the questions that you were going to ask me.
Okay, does not for you not to answer them.
Aye. I'll answer them with a noise.
Okay. Let's see. It's a long-standing project, like still game. I love the ending. How did it feel to you, like emotionally, like watching the end of it? Were
Where's
you
Tam's Wayne?
how's working in films differed to your TV work? How was the makeup process for Naveed? That's the Mortimer horn coming back. The writing and character development spoke about in Still Game. How much of a say or control did you have over your own character?
Which is the noise in
Family Fortunes.
No,
No.
catchphrase.
Catchphrase.
Things about like when it came to the last season of Still Game, what was like? Did you get the writer's brief and you knew it was coming, or did they hold some stuff back as a surprise? Oh, Donald Duck was involved. Fag Mags and Bags and Still Game. I heard you in an podcast saying you had a thing for shops and shop owners. Can you talk about that? I think I went on goofy. I can't see it. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Cheers.
I'll come back again.
Oh,
I'll come back
perfect.
again,
That'd
yeah.
be much appreciated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.